Hey everyone, Fred Minnick here, and you heard me in the past talking about blends of straights, talking about how important they are, how they are the future of American whiskey in many respects. Well, we have a bottle here that's kind of in that narrative. It's a part of that story, and that is Borrowed Page. Now, this comes from the house of Mash and Grain, and they are going around and getting stocks from craft distillers and blending them to create unique releases. So this is Borrowed Page Volume 1, and this is a composite or a blend from spirits of French Lake, their Lee Sinclair release, Wigle Whiskey, and Wigle, which is out of Pennsylvania. Spirits of French Lake is out of Indiana, and Watershed Distillery in Columbus, Ohio. So you're looking at a blend of straights from three different states. Now, here's what's unique about this. A lot of the blended straights that you'll see like Kentucky, Indiana, and Tennessee on there. The people who get those stocks, they have to sign NDAs. They can't tell you where the whiskey's from. They can't use the brand name. Borrowed Page is looking at actually using the brand names of distillers. I like that in a lot of ways, but if I am an owner of a brand, all I can think about is liability. So if you are a lawyer in this situation, tell me, is there extra liability to the people who provide it? Is there contractual things that would protect them? Because that's always been the argument for these NDAs that you see in the source whiskey game. So with what Borrowed Page is doing, if somebody wanted to, not saying that anyone should do that, but if somebody wanted to go after like Mash and Grain or Borrowed Page, does that make Spirits of French Lake liable? Does it make Watershed liable? Does it make Wigle Whiskey liable? I'm really curious to know your thoughts on that, because lawyers, I always find, have the answers, and they'd be happy to bill you for every one of those. Which, by the way, if you're a lawyer and you put in the comment section what your thoughts are, I just want to be fully transparent. You cannot bill me for that. In fact, I also think that means that you cannot sue me in the future since you commented on my YouTube page. That's according to the Supreme Court right now. I just made all that up, by the way. So here we go. That's enough talky. More tasty. And right here, we see foul number 1. The cork did not work out so well. Take a look at that glue. Take a look at that synthetic cork there. Not a winning combo. Let's see if I can get this thing. That's like a full-blown thing of fucking plastic here. This is like the C4 glue. Have I ever handled C4? Well, yes, I have. So fuck off. All right. Here we go. Well, can you say coffee beans? Because that's what I'm getting on up in here. Coffee, hazelnut. Smells pretty nice. Like some essence of the grain, like the good smells of like wheat. It's very expressive. It's very nuanced. There's some sweetness here. There's also some grain backbone. And then there's some some bitterness. Coffee bitterness. Cheerios. Like a note of Cheerios in this, like the honey roasted Cheerios, and then it has like a burnt cup of coffee note on the finish. Like the coffee comes in pretty expressive at first, then it kind of turns into like a burnt cup of coffee there toward the end. Not quite as bad as like Army coffee, which is like liquid fuel that it just gets you through the day. But God, is it awful. If you ever had Army coffee, you know what I'm talking about. That shit sucks. Yeah, I think I really applaud the endeavor here. I applaud the technique. I don't know if these parts are really singing for me. It feels like this whiskey is kind of like all over the place. But I will say, if you like a cup of coffee, if you like coffee notes, and if you like grain notes with just like a touch of sweetness, you might really fall in love with this one. But I'm such a fan of Spirits of French Lick, and I'm such a fan of what Watershed has done. Wigle's had some nice finishes over the years, but it's like I think, and this is going to sound crazy. This is kind of where, like, I would like to know afterward, like, what I was tasting, because I kind of went in thinking I'm about to have some Spirits of French Lick kind of flavors, and I didn't. I got just a little bit of it, but not all the way. And it's definitely different than every one of these distillers. Yeah, there's not one winning note for me here. There's not one overriding thing. There's coffee, there's grain, there's some sweetness, but it's just not jumping out of the glass for me. But again, I think that this is such an important endeavor. If you are a whiskey fan and you are someone really trying to support the growth of, like, American whiskey, this is kind of the direction we are seeing right now. And this is a positive step there. And this is a first batch. So I know that the second batches and third batches will only get better as the notoriety gets out there. And if you are a coffee fan and if you are a grain fan, imagine that in your glass. I think that you would like this very much. But that's going to do it for this quick review. Make sure you click that subscribe button, hit like for me. And if you would like to have what's your dream blend of straights of different distilleries? Put it in the comment sections. I would like to know. Maybe I can make it at home as a home blend. But that's going to do it for this episode. Remember, vodka sucks unless it's being used for hand sanitizer. Cheers, everybody.